Hello?
Hello, who is 911?
This is Alderman Hill.
Okay, I thought so. Johnny, I just have to, you know what, I should get a cheat sheet and put all the phone numbers down.
I thought you should have one by now.
By the time I get this, it's gonna be over.
Hello?
Is that Candace? The 6196, is that Candace?
Yes, it is.
I'm starting to remember numbers. Okay, so Jim, you have Johnny Hill, Candace Carr, Allan, Stevo, and Bill Fahrenwald yourself.
Okay, so we're just missing Dexter and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will. Okay, we'll give him a couple seconds here. Okay, it's just 6 o'clock now. I'll give him a couple minutes.
You guys are live on YouTube.
All right.
And I'm going to stop my video. Up there's Will.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Will.
Alderman
Hello.
Cazares. Hello. How you doing, Dan? Bill, how are you doing?
Hey, Randy.
Yeah,
So the only just Chief Rita's there. Chief Arzab's not here yet.
that's correct. So it's Ben just until we get started usually, and then Chief Rita, and then the alderman I spoke of, and myself.
Okay. All right. Well, we might as well. It's 6:01, and we have 6 out of the 7 aldermen, so we're going to go ahead and start. So we're good to go, Randy.
Yeah, it's live. Everything's going. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is the regular meeting of the Public Health and Safety Committee held remotely on Tuesday, June 16th, 2020, 6 p.m. as permitted by Executive Order 2020-07 signed by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on March 15th, 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. To participate remotely, download the Zoom app or call 312-626-6799. Public Health and Safety Meeting, the webinar ID is 892-4375-2176 with the password of 599276. We're going to call the meeting to order, and I have 6:02 p.m. with a roll call. Say your name. If you're here, just say yes. Allan Stevo? I know he's here, right?
Yeah, he's muted.
All right. So Al, Bill.
Allan Stevo present.
Okay. Bill Fahrenwald's here?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm on phone, so I don't have a camera to look at you guys because my thing's not looking. Johnny Hill's here?
Correct.
Cazares here? Candy's here?
I'm here.
And Will Cazares is here, correct?
I am.
And
Chief Rita?
and Chief
and
Arzab.
Chief Arzab is here also?
Here.
Okay. So the only person missing from... Huh?
Who's 3961? Is that you, Dex?
Yeah.
Dexter's here.
Awesome. All right, so all 7 members of the committee are here. Okay. So that's the call to order. Under public comments, it says public comments will be email only. Comments at Jim Klinker, City Blue Island, jklinker at cityblueisland.org by June 16th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Email public comments received will be read during the public comment portion of the meeting by Alderman Klinker. I have 2 of them. The first one I received this morning from Sandy Erft. She says, "We are tired of hearing fireworks every night. I've spoken with many residents who feel the same way. What's the point of having an ordinance on file that prohibits the use of fireworks if it's not enforced? I have called several times to the non-emergency number to complain. I read on social media that many other residents are fed up too. Their animals are terrified. Please enforce this ordinance. We are in a period of high stress in this country, state, and our city. We don't need this abomination too. Thank you." And I also have one I just received from Carol DePace Green about 45 minutes ago for public comment tonight. It says, public comment, Carol DePace Green. BI needs BI Public Health and Safety Committee meetings and BI City Council meetings that clearly include decisions that add value to Blue Island. We should not have to continue to fight for the Public Health and Safety Committee and City Council to put our tax dollars into our community. We need an end to $1 million Blue Island Police Department misconduct costs and payouts upwards of more than $50 million since 2004. We need to figure out why Blue Island police officers were not and haven't been charged by the Illinois Attorney General. BIPD needs a consent decree, and Blue Island needs a board with teeth to police the police. Cities that have disbanded their police departments as much as 7 years ago, including Camden, New Jersey, while some cities did so to root out police department corruption, What happened next was people felt safer and crime went down significantly. It is expected unions will lobby and make huge political campaign donations against disbanding and defunding to maintain the status quo. The city of Blue Island needs advanced life support. That service not only saves lives, it adds value to the community. We need to end all excuses from the Public Health and Safety Committee and the Blue Island City Council's failure to fund and provide advanced life support that saves lives and will avoid future lawsuits. That's the only two that I got. So with that being done, we'll go to fire department business. Chief Dan, you're up.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. Hopefully everybody received the packet I sent out earlier this morning. If not, let me know. I'll resend it or make copies and throw it in your mailbox. So we'll start with our call response for May 2020. As it reads before you, 270 EMS responses, 139 fire responses, 13 of which were auto aid responses, respectively broken down by town, and 2 mutual aid responses. Moving on to money collected. First, for medical reimbursement, in the month of May, we collected $40,848.62. The attached document broken down month by month should be page 2 in your packet. That brings our year-to-date total for medical reimbursement to $192,625.49. Fire recovery received money received for Blue Island in the month of May totaled $1,040.80, bringing that year-to-date total to $10,345. False alarm fees were 0, and that total remained at $700. Calls of interest for the month of May in Blue Island and elsewhere for us. May 1st, we had an apartment fire. That was a Friday evening, about 11 o'clock, 12724 Lincoln. The guys made a good stop on that. Had a pretty decent fire on the second floor, but an aggressive interior attack stopped that. 512. 14101 Stewart in Riverdale, a fire for myself in the engine. 513 the next day, 13444 Mozart. That was a small electrical fire. We worked with it. If you remember back, I think it was January. It was sometime in the winter. We had a fire over there on a Saturday morning. They were rehabbing, and they actually had an illegal tap off the electric into it, which started a fire in the wall. They were able to quickly extinguish it. The building department did go over there and take care of the matter as far as the electric is concerned. So again, working hand in hand with them has been pretty productive. 523, 12007 Elm Street. Again, a Saturday morning, had a kitchen fire. Nobody injured. The residents had just left. And that looks like that might have been an electrical issue as well. And then the last one on there is 525. Our engine went to assist Payless on a pretty large home. I think they went on a second alarm or so. So pretty hot day, but they went out there to help them with that. So, and then the normal, obviously EMS calls, mostly, again, what we're normally seeing. So guys, again, wearing their PPEs, doing what they're supposed to be doing amidst the COVID. So if you flip to page 2, general information, as I just said, or you guys are continually receiving the daily. We've gone to Monday, Wednesday, Friday now that we've settled the civil unrest for the most part, or that's died down. So we're back to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We continue to do that and update you guys with the daily message from there. Continued, or we through most of May, we did the weekly chief meeting in our Mavis division. We've since stopped that. We're going back to our monthly meetings as we had previously. We did again, or I do continue to update our Homeland Security website, or their website on the City of Blue Island for us. We have been, again, we just received 60 gallons today. We've gotten in the past, I think I've reported, the face masks, we've gotten thermometers. So that, like I said, that pipeline as far as the PPE supply has opened up, and we continue to have a good relationship with them, and we're able to get a lot of the necessary PPE that we need from them. So that's been pretty good the last month or so. We did also submit through our Mavis division for a regional grant to FEMA. That was for PPE, and the thought there is to stockpile again, in the instance that we have something like this break out again, that we have in our each division, or at least in our division, if a department is deficient in their supply, that we have a cache set aside in at our division headquarters that we can help these departments out. So we'll hopefully hear about that. I think that's coming up at the end of June or so, but we'll keep you obviously informed of that. And then internally with the department, we've established a labor and management committee. And what that entails is that, again, to try and hammer out some of, if there are any issues beforehand, that consists of the union board and myself. It's pretty informal. We just meet. Usually we're trying once a month. It depends on the schedule, or if issues come up, and it's more or less just to have a clearinghouse before we take it to a grievance or get to other issues. We try to hammer it out amongst ourselves and just have an open dialogue. So, I think that's been we've done 2. I think we have another one we do have another one scheduled for Thursday this week. So I'll keep you guys abreast of any developments out of that. Maintenance, the truck tower ladder is still out of service. The ladder is fixed. It should have been changed, but now they're having a thermostat issue. It actually did come back for 1 day. We were going to put it back in service and run it through its paces and try and make sure that everything was operational on it, because we haven't had it in a while. And then it overheated. And then they were bringing it back last Friday, and it overheated again. So they're trying to chase down that issue. Again, it's been gone a while, but it's 22 years old. So again, the importance of, and we talked about it, and I know this, we'll talk later, not this meeting, but in the future about what we had discussed during appropriations and trying to come up with some ideas as far as setting aside a capital plan, because we are going to have a large replacement of rigs coming up here. We have like I said, the truck's 22 years old, the engines are 12 and 13, the ambulances are aging, and obviously with our distances that we're traveling to and from hospital now, they're getting beat up pretty good, at least mileage wise. And so just put that on your radar. We'll talk about that down the road here, but I'll obviously provide some ideas or plans and thoughts as to what we can do, and certainly, obviously get your guys' input as it relates to that. So, and then Marine 2, the boat, we had some engine work done, and that was just more or less maintenance, and fix a plug on it. And then we got a new tarp on it to help, I guess, cover that one. It's going to be covering the control panel and everything. Hopefully it helps in regards to the wiring and everything else. We're not getting it soaked. So it turned out pretty nice, and it's in the water and operational. So we're good to go with that. We did, as for May, we still had pre-plans on hold and inspections. We did recently, actually, Lieutenant Zielinski just started doing inspections again today. So we'll see for next month's report, you'll see we've begun that again. And when we're getting out into these businesses and doing our annual inspections, new business inspections and things of that nature. So that's moving along. Training hours for the month of May, that's attached as well, broken down by each individual. Those hours totaled 559 and a half hours. I completed the health and safety officer class. Also, we met with, I met with our acting company officers to see what needs they may have. There's never been a real formal acting officer program in light of them obviously taking a bigger responsibility down at Station 2 now, and some of the other things and some of the questions that they had. I thought it was one of the things that I wanted to get established when I got here. It's taken a little while, but we're moving in that direction. I've sat most of them down, asked where they felt they needed help or where we could help them to make them more productive and more comfortable sitting in those seats and making those decisions. And I've seen most of them, so we got a few more to go through, and then we'll start a program up here shortly, hopefully by end of summer, and have that going. And then training officer Matt Sutkus has been meeting with and participating in our MABUS 22 training officers meetings. That will entail, we're going to do some auto aid training with our neighboring towns. It's actually the first couple. Each shift is going to be going at the end of June. The idea is to do it at least once a month. And that's to familiarize ourselves with our auto aid companies and neighboring towns on the fire ground, or actually on the drill ground, and then that'll make it more cohesive on the fire ground. So he's been putting that together with those guys, and then we'll be doing that again starting at the end of June. Operationally, again, just most of it is just PPE preparation for the COVID response. Worked on a few things, again, when the truck comes back that we'll be able to put in play, but most of it has been related to our COVID response. So I also have, I believe it is, you have the overtime hours broken down. There was no 7G. The overtime hours are broken down, and then for hours in total, and then the reasoning is the attached documents to that. So that concludes my report. I do have something on their old and new when you're done, but if anybody has any questions about the report, feel free.
Yeah, this is Jim Klinker. Just a
Yes.
comment. When you start talking about replacing rigs down the line here, Chief.
Alderman
Yes, sir.
Klinker.
Hang on
This
one
is
second.
Alderman. This
Okay,
is
Johnny,
Alderman
hang
Hill.
on. Can you hang on 1 second?
Sure.
I was just asking another question, then I'll let you go next, okay? Anyway, Chief Dan, it was just a comment. Is obviously we need to include Topeka in any and all conversations on that. She
Right.
kind of came in after we had those meetings and stuff. That's it. That's all I wanted to say was, and I'm sure you already thought of that.
I was just going to
So-
say, and that'll tie into what I'm going to talk about briefly here. But I did talk to Topeka about some of this already. So yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, go ahead, Johnny. You got something?
Yeah, I was just wanted to make a statement. I don't know. This is probably for Randy. I keep getting muted and unmuted. So
I was going to wait till the opportunity. Johnny, are you on speakerphone?
yes.
Okay, because we're getting a lot of feedback, and then that's going on to the YouTube stream. So if you could go off a speakerphone, then you won't. I'm muting you when other people are talking because we're getting a lot of feedback.
Okay.
Chief, I have a question for Chief Retta, please.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Chief Retta, any information on the foreign fire tax? How much have we collected so far this year on that?
We only get that once a year. I believe we get that check in October, so we haven't seen it yet.
Do you happen to know of the confirmed cases, how many persons were hospitalized?
How many were hospitalized? I do not. We've taken several. The total as of the other day was 374, I believe. I don't have that right in front of me, but whatever the last daily update that I had, that was our total patients confirmed through the IDPH stats. So I do not have the total number of patients that have been hospitalized.
I see. Do you have any information on the hospital you can share with us?
And I included, I think that was in Fridays, but yes, to bring everybody up to speed, if you did not look at it, we met, Chief Arzab and I had a conference call with the group that is basically running the alternate care facility for the state now over there at the former Metro South last Thursday. As of right now, they are just in what they call a holding pattern or a warm zone. They're running through the functions. They're making sure everything is operational the best they can with obviously outpatients being there. But they're just basically waiting for the state to say, go ahead and turn it on and start accepting patients. So they're anticipating, from what they've said, they have 3 weeks to get ready. They said that the state has told them that if they need to activate, they'll give them the 3-week notice, and they'll begin preparing. They're going to try and go in small waves if they do have to take patients, meaning that they said 30 to 50 patients initially to try to see how work out some of the kinks and any of the issues that they may have. So that's where they're at. They said that they're more or less, they have not been told that they're going to be getting patients. I think they're planning on more or less, like I said, for maybe the fall and a rebound of the COVID should it come back, as many have predicted. So that's where we're at with that. But they are over there. There are people in the building. They have security. They have National Guard is there. They have security. I said security. They have other individuals that are in there maintaining it and whatnot. So the facility is up and running. It just has no patients at this time.
Chief Dan, thank you very much for the update.
You're welcome.
Anyone? Excuse me. Does anyone else have anything for the fire chief? Okay, then I guess we're gonna go to what's next, Dan? Old business? You said you have something under old business?
Yes, if I could quickly, I'll get more in depth of it. It just it came up last week, and I thank God I caught it. But anyway, I had brought up in, I believe it was late or early fall last year, about the GEMT program. That's our reimbursement above and beyond what Medicaid pays that we're able to collect. It's now we're able to do that. Departments are able to do that. So we were not able to get, for a variety of reasons, last fall, that completed in time to do. Part of it was, the flux of not having the finance director or the finance director soon leaving around the time we needed to get that submitted. Us not having enough time to get the IGA looked at, even though it was presented. But there was some questions about it. So I'm putting it back out there that is back out there, and I think we have until September 1st to do it. So my plan is to sit with Topeka, and I'll talk about this in new business too, about the next thing, and go through some of the stuff. Obviously, go through public health and safety and finance, and update everybody on what we're talking about doing here. But this is something, again, in light of all the negativity with our revenues falling and everything, that this is a potential positive, at least for us. In regards to revenue, because it's an added revenue stream that wasn't there before. So there's going to be a lot of paperwork and a lot of prep to get it going. And I did, as Alderman Klinker had asked earlier about the apparatus, I actually have briefed her a little bit on this, and I'm going to sit with her and go through it with her, because I'm going to need their finances help as far as putting this all together. But that's out there. I just wanted to make you guys aware that we're going to look to proceed forward with going after that again this year, and then hopefully successfully getting it, and then see an increase in our ambulance revenue billing. So that was it for old business. Anybody have questions about that?
Yeah, this is Alderman. This is Alderman Hill. I just want to know, Chief Rita, what are the schedules for basically the tune-ups for the ambulance?
They're on a quarterly basis for preventative maintenance.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Alderman Johnson. Chief Rita, I know we're on financial constraints right now, but I was wondering, was anything in the future for, like, maybe and this is for our Chief Arzap as well, anything in the future for fire and police cadets, as far as, like, the classes for, like, children that might, think about wanting to be, or information to be a police officer or a fire fighter. And the other thing is, was there any monies in the budget, which I know is under constraint again, for cultural sensitivity training for both departments?
To answer, and you and I have talked about this, Alderman Johnson, and again, it's one of the things that is definitely on my radar and I want to do. Unfortunately, when we actually had ourselves set up to go into Eisenhower, I met with, I forget his name now. I'm sorry. But we actually we were planning on going there the end of April for their career day. And we were going to actually set this up as far as a small program to start and try and get off the ground this summer in regards to this. That we had two individuals on the department that were very interested in helping. I actually met with them a couple of times leading up to this. And then obviously COVID hit and schools shut down and we weren't able to do it. So that is very much on our radar. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think that's something worthwhile. The two individuals that are going to be spearheading this and leading this have a passion to do it. They are very interested in doing it, like I said. So I hope and pray that we can, certainly get through all of this and get back to school and get back to some normalcy and start getting some of these programs up and running. And as far as the cultural sensitivity, we do have programs built into our training platform that Target Solutions, which I've talked about before. So yeah, we can certainly start putting that out. It's all built, like there's certainly different topics, and that being one of them. We can get the guys to start doing some of that stuff as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else on that? If not, Dan, go ahead with your new business.
Okay, and then the last thing for the new business is I had a meeting with our current vendor for ambulance billing is medical reimbursement. The woman that handled our account had left there about a month, 2 months ago. And she called me. She's working for a new company. She wanted to meet. We met last week. They gave me a proposal, which I'll share. I'll go through the proper committees. I just wanted again to get it out there as far as what's going to be coming down the pipe. They came back with what we're currently paying 7%. So whatever we collect, 7% of it goes to our ambulance billing company. They were able to come in. They said that they would be able to do it for 5%, which based on last year's billing, would be equate to about $11,000 savings for us, or $11,000 extra on our medical billing. In addition to that, they were willing to help with this GMT program as we move forward. So I believe, and I have to go through the contract, but I believe we have a 30-day out from the other one because it's just a continual rollover. And like I said, I'll share the proposal with you and everything else. That was what I wanted to talk to Topeka about. So in addition to some of this other stuff, like we had talked before, I had brought Topeka up to speed as far as what we discussed in appropriations and saying if there was a way, and again, if there's a bigger way to do this, I'm not saying it has to definitely be individual, but I was using it as an illustration during appropriations about taking a percentage of what we get for billing and putting in some type of capital outlay program, i.e. for either upgrading to ALS, to our rigs, to whatever that may be that we need that would ease the burden on the city council as a whole, as far as it goes to money being appropriated for us. So she thought it was a good idea. Obviously, she wants a little bit more information. She wants to be brought up to speed and be able to prepare and help me out so we can go to both finance and you guys and then the full city council to be able to give you guys a pretty good idea of what we're looking at. But I think if we get this GMT rolling from, conservatively, some of the things that she's, this other, the woman from the billing company is saying, we will, and she's willing to come and do a presentation too. So I guess I'm just asking if you want to proceed forward with pursuing this, but she'll go through it. But it seems as if we're going to have a pretty significant amount of money, at least as it relates to what we're looking to do. So.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to object to cost savings. So yeah, if you want to keep working on that, set it up and we can, meet with her, or we're still Zooming. She can join us on one of those in a future meeting, whatever it takes.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any questions on that? All right. Anybody else have anything else for Chief Dan?
No.
Nope. Dan, you got anything else?
No. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right. Thanks. Police Department business. Chief Arzav, you're on the line, right?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, it's all yours.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I'll start with the monthly report for May. Probationary police officer Bryant Holloway is currently in the shadow stage of his field training program. Full-time patrol officers Carlos Ortega and John McSweeney just recently submitted their letters of retirement effective this month, and actually immediately. They're no longer working with our force. Sergeant David Nedved remains off with an on-duty injury. Item D, just to give you a further update on our staffing level for full-time sworn police officers, which is at 37, which this number includes the position of chief, administrative sergeant, investigations, and the patrol division. Currently, our staffing is at 31 as opposed to 37. And keep in mind as well that 37 is a workable staffing level. It keeps us afloat. More realistically, we would love to be in the mid-40s where we used to be many years ago, but because of multitude of reasons, we're at where we're at right now. So the reason why the current staffing level is at 31 is because of an officer who went disabled, 3 officers who recently retired unexpectedly. We knew at some point in the near future it possibly could have happened, but unexpectedly it happened sooner. So we had 3 of those, and then an officer who is obviously not actively working right now, who is due to retire in October. And then we still have an officer off on an on-duty injury. But we do have some good news that the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center is opening up training again for police academies and state police. Unfortunately, we're not able to get a recruit in for the June Academy, but we do have 2 spots that are reserved for our department in September. So I am in the process of trying to hire 2 police officers, at least for right now, to minimize the bleeding that's occurring right now. And also the Civil Service Commission last week, or our last meeting, has approved the hiring of 4 full-time police officers. The temporary procedures regarding requests for vacation, personal, and comp time during COVID-19 have been lifted, and normal procedures have been reinstated for my officers to utilize their benefit time. Cook County Dispatch has agreed to pay for the frontline public safety solutions beyond the pandemic, and the key holder component was activated, and officers are in the process of assisting businesses with onboarding. All of the department's staff is continuing to be issued personal protective equipment and instructions on proper use. Daily cleaning and sanitary supplies are made available to all staff, and instructions on proper use. And we are abiding to the suggested protocols and recommendations of the CDC and the Department of Public Health, and they are being tracked. Normal parking ticket enforcement, with the approval of the mayor, has resumed as of June 1st, with the exception of the expired registrations based on the governor's executive order allowing the extension. On the next page, for the monthly reporting for the clerical totals, we had a total of $66,457.87 collected through police department revenue streams for May. And then you will see also, that's one of the attachments in the back, and also the sworn police totals, the monthly stats, and the incident count. You will see those attachments in the back of the report. The calls for service for May, 2,226 incidences were recorded. 1,274 were calls serviced, and 643 were self-initiated. On May 31st, at approximately 12:30, the department began fielding calls of looting and burglaries to various businesses in Blue Island. Additional staff was recalled from May 31st through June 4th to address the evolving situation. In total, the department responded to 18 separate calls for businesses being vandalized or burglarized. 4 arrests were made for burglary after the initial looting on May 31st and into the early morning hours of June 1st. All other protests and demonstrations remained lawful and peaceful. And this will also go along the lines of the memorandum that I had sent everyone in reference to the status of all the businesses in town and what had transpired during that time. We recovered 12 firearms in the month of May, and there was 1 EBZIO deployment in May. For training, sworn department members were assigned several online courses in April with a mid-May due date, which satisfied various training mandates. Following the May Public Health and Safety meeting, certificates turned in brought the total for April from 59.5 hours to 215.5 hours of training. And then also keep in mind, this training is not incurring overtime. This is actually taking time off the street during their normal patrol time to be able to complete all of this training. For May, we trained a total of, so far, 95.25 hours for May. The next pages, page 3 and 4 and most of 5 is all the training that has been conducted. The department is currently completing Lexipol training on airborne and bloodborne pathogens and COVID-19 for law enforcement. And all sworn personnel have satisfied their mandates for law updates, use of force, officer wellness, and hazardous materials refresher. On page 6, you can see the overtime for the community policing. Just to note, that is the call-ins for the looting and the rioting and the protesting, approximately $2,179.97 for that type of activity. A total overtime minus with the addition of the reimbursement was $7,948.73. For the department projects, Lexipol policy manual has been fully issued and in effect as of January 1st. I've been telling you guys this every month just to keep it in there. And we're still developing the procedures manual through the department and Lexipol. I'm going to skip a few of these because it's repetitive every month. We'll go into page 7. We implemented the agreement with propertyroom.com and we're in the process of onboarding it. Item G, the department has begun researching the implementation of body-worn camera program. The cost of 40 cameras in addition to individual user and administrative licenses, docking stations, cloud storage, and redaction software is approximately $15,000 a year. We're in the beginning stages of researching this, so we're not completely done with researching this item. Department is also researching a transition to Lexisnexis eCrash and request a report system. These systems will eliminate officers' handwriting traffic crash reports and provide an online portal for citizens to request copies of reports. Both systems are no charge to the city, and a portion of the report fees will be deposited to the city account. Bottom of page 7 is our patrol fleet. Page 8, we have the cases assignments for the investigations unit. On the bottom are the cases of interest. On May 4th, we had a fatal traffic crash in the 2800 block of 119th Street. The victim was walking in the street along the poorly lighted road at night when struck by a vehicle and killed. The driver stopped the vehicle and attempted to render aid. During the subsequent investigation, evidence was collected, including digital evidence, biological evidence, and witness testimony and accident reconstructionist reports. The investigation concluded the crash was an accident, with the driver not being criminally liable. May 6th, 2020, we had aggravated fleeing and eluding, leaving the scene of property damage crashes in the 2100 block of South Ann Street. Patrol officers observed a suspicious vehicle and attempted a traffic stop. The vehicle fled at a high rate of speed and struck several parked vehicles. The occupants fled the vehicle and eluded capture. A subsequent investigation was conducted with digital and biological evidence being obtained. The driver was identified, arrested, and charged accordingly. May 10th, 2020, attempted murder in the 1900 block of South Irving. During a domestic dispute, the female offender stabbed the male victim in the chest with a large knife, piercing his heart. The victim was taken to Christ, where life-saving surgery was performed, and the offender was charged accordingly. May 31st, a burglary at United Liquors. Officers responded to several calls of roving looters. Several subjects were observed breaking into the liquor store and began to flee. Upon observing officers responding, 4 subjects were taken into custody. Subjects were charged with burglary. Investigations are ongoing with cooperation pending from some businesses, other businesses that were looted. Community engagement on May 4th and May 6th. The patrol and detective divisions toured the former Metro South Medical Center with the Army Corps of Engineers so they can get an idea of the layout if and when it does open for COVID-19 patients in case they have to go to a call to assist. Under miscellaneous, the department was awarded the Bureau of Justice Fiscal Year 20 Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Grant in the amount of $33,354. These funds will be used to reimburse the cost of disinfecting the police station and vehicles, upgrading fixtures inside of the department, and equipment to assist in sanitizing daily used handheld items. In 2018, the department adopted Lexipol to assist in the creation and implementation of a policy and procedures manual to guide the department moving forward. For over 20 years, Lexipol has provided constitutionally sound policies to thousands of law enforcement agencies across the nation based on the latest statutory and case law and progressive best practices, with tools that allow agencies to customize their policies to the unique needs of each community. Every Lexipol subscribing agency is regularly provided with ongoing updates to help them keep their policies current. With recent events, a social media campaign has been launched to review 8 specific policy issues, of which there is a belief that cities around the nation do not address. Lexipol believes that their policies address all of the issues, however, are providing guidance to subscribing agencies to closely monitor and review their specific policies for these issues. Lexipol will continue to monitor the concerns raised by many through social media and have advised that policy changes, if any, cannot be made hastily and must be based on well-reasoned consideration of all issues. The department is adopting a zero-tolerance policy on the illegal use or possession of fireworks. If permitted by manpower, shifts will designate an officer to respond to these incidents for enforcement purposes. Violators will be cited for local ordinance number 93.01, which carries a minimum fine of $750, along with the proper confiscation of remaining fireworks. The ordinance language and penalties will be distributed across the department and city's social media as a warning to potential violators. Residents are strongly encouraged to contact the police about firework complaints and provide as many specific details as possible. For example, the residence or street that the fireworks are coming from, violator descriptions, etc. That ends my monthly report, and then you will see the 4 attachments that we usually have that are attached to the report.
Does anybody have any questions for the chief on her report? No one?
Yeah,
No
I have
questions.
a
Thank you very
question.
much.
Go ahead, Alderman Carr.
Under Lexipol, it says that, let me go back to this. It says that their tools allow agencies to customize their policies to the unique needs of each community. Can you give us an example of how your policies have been customized to meet the needs of Blue Island?
Uniform policies, day-to-day operations, things like that. I can't think offhand anything more specific until I actually go through it.
Okay, and then with your reference to fireworks, is there going to be a plan in place for the 4th of July?
As far as having fireworks?
As far as being able to enforce the ordinance. Last year it was horrendous. It was like a war zone. A garage near me caught fire from mishandled fireworks. There was people with 6-inch firework launchers. I don't know what they call them, but these were not bottle rocket launchers. These were regular commercial firework displays. There was somebody set up on Highland Avenue. There was somebody set up in the parking lot at Memorial Park in the back of a pickup truck with some kind of launching device. And we just can't let this continue.
Well, we can call people in on overtime. You know, I understand the concern, and I am concerned about it as well. And I'm not trying to downplay this concern, and I understand that there are a lot of citizens out there that are concerned about this. I get it. But we have to understand that, and I'm not trying to come up with excuses on why our lack of success in enforcement, but unfortunately, this is happening. We're not unique in Blue Island about fireworks. You know, this is happening everywhere. And, you know, we have to take into consideration everything else that is going on and our staffing levels. And our guys are out there enforcing everything that they possibly can enforce. If you want me to bring in more staffing, I can bring in more staffing. But, I mean, there's going to be a cost to it. If that's where you're kind of leaning towards, then I can try to get more people to come in to do extra enforcement. But we also have to understand that we have this uncertainty going on. And granted, we have a lax right now, thankfully, of the protesting and the looting and COVID-19 and things like that. But we don't know, you know, from every day, you know, whether or not these things are going to start erupting again. And unfortunately, fireworks are going to have to be on the back burner. But you know, if you want us to bring extra enforcements, we can do that. But like I said, it's going to be a cost to the city.
Okay, this is Jim. Go ahead, Candy.
I was going to say, I'm talking about the night of 4th of July.
Yes, correct.
Go ahead, Jim.
So I think there's a lot of frustration here, Chief. I know this is something that the mayor asked us to look at a year ago, right after the 4th of July. We discussed it back in January. I think I should have looked at the minutes, but I didn't. And we talked about, you talked about manpower and all that kind of, everything that you just said. We also talked about notifying the public, you know, that they're illegal and all that kind of stuff, getting the word out on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, which I think you did not that long ago after I emailed you about stuff. But it's getting, and I understand your concerns about money, and maybe that's something we need to take to finance to see if it's approved by them. Because if that's what's holding us up, there's so many people. I get phone calls every single day about fireworks. They're going off every single night. This isn't just, you know, the week before the 4th of July, the week after the 4th of July.
No, I completely understand that. I absolutely do.
Last night they went for 20 minutes straight. Boom, 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 and they're close to my house. Now, did I get up and go drive and find out where they're coming from? No, I didn't. But my question is, and this is the question I keep getting, is how did the officers not hear this? I mean, have we had any fireworks confiscations or arrests or whatever in the last 3 weeks since all this stuff's gone crazy? Have we had any fireworks calls that have been addressed? Let's put it that way. That's the problem. People think that nothing's being done, and I understand the money thing. Trust me, I'm on finance committee. I get that too. But it's just to the point where it's unnerving for a lot of people. And with the COVID thing and with everyone celebrating and go on your porch and all that other stuff and birthday parties and stuff, people just think it's okay. And it's like Candace said, it's not like it's a bottle rocket or a single firework. These are big, big fireworks going off. As a former fireman, I can tell you that's going to cause a fire somewhere sooner or later. It did last year on that garage by Candace's house. So that's why we need something done. And I personally think enforcement is the way. If you're saying that the only way we can do this, enforcement, is to add additional officers, whether it's the 4th of July, the day before, the day after, I don't know what that may be, then maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to address that to the finance committee and make sure that it's okay. I think everyone here on the public health and safety, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but if anyone's got a different opinion, wouldn't be against that, to tell you the truth. So that's where I'm coming from. It's just, I also got an email I want to read here real quick that I just got from Marisol at 3:15 this afternoon. Apparently the mayor has a draft message to the residents regarding the illegal use of fireworks, possible fines and or criminal charges. He will wait until after tonight's meeting to incorporate the committee's ideas so that we can post it publicly. So, I mean, that's where I'm from. I don't know if anyone else has any ideas or suggestions, but what it's going to do is take a little bit more money to bring in an officer to be able to do this. And if it produces results, if they're coming in just to make money and nothing happens from it, that's a waste of our time and effort. But I guarantee you, 4th of July, 2 or 3 days before, 3 or 4, it's a Saturday this year, I believe, it's going to be nuts around this place. And we need to do something about it. People are fed up with it, and I'm one of them.
And I understand that. And my officers, they're responding to fireworks calls, and they're trying their best. And unfortunately, for most of these calls, it's finished by the time the officer gets the call and they respond. You know, the reality is this is very difficult to enforce. And like I said, we can put added enforcements if we want to on those specific days, but you're not always guaranteed that the enforcement is going to be successful. We hope, absolutely. And my guys, if we have to do that, if we have to go that route, my guys are going to properly enforce it. But it's a matter of if we're able to catch these people doing it, you know. And I understand that, you know. I mean, I'm, you know, like I said, this is happening everywhere, and I know, you know, a lot of the calls are, you know, from hearing them from the outlying communities as well. I know, as an example, I'm up every weekend through the month of June, July, and part of August. You know, yeah, it's horrible. It stinks. You know, it's happening everywhere. And like I said, we have a zero tolerance. We're responding to the calls. We're responding to them appropriately. If we're able to catch them violating, then we're going to act accordingly. If by the time we get there, they're done, the unfortunate thing is there's nothing we can do about it. Or very limited that we can do about it. But yeah, if you want more enforcement on those few days, then we can do that as well, and hope that our enforcement will increase.
I understand completely, like you're saying, that people are, you know, it's done by the time they get there. I mean, there's obviously remnants of some of this stuff left, and I know you can't prosecute or any of that kind of stuff if you find stuff on the street. And I understand that other towns are having this too, but it's to the point where I get phone calls at least weekly, probably 2-3 times a week, that people don't even want to call about them anymore because they don't think anything's being done. That's the appearance that's out there to the citizens that I've spoken to. I completely understand. I completely understand that. But then also you have to understand that when these calls come in, or if my officers do hear it, it doesn't mean that they're available to be able to answer to that area. I mean, they're tasked to do multiple things during their tour of duty. And granted, yes, you know, our officers hear it as well, absolutely. But that's not a guarantee that every time they hear something, they can go right to it and respond to it. They may be having to handle other more important calls. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of different circumstances. We can go around and around and around, you know, till we're blue in the face. But obviously, you know, we all understand that this is a concern. We all understand that this is a problem, and we are going to do the best that we can to try to do the best enforcement that we possibly can with what we have. Or if we want to have extra manpower, absolutely, we can do that as well.
If I could just say something about this, I just want to make it clear, I am completely in agreement with the concerns here. I got a dog that is just terrorized by all this stuff, so it's a problem, and I'm not going to say it's not. But I also do very much hear what the chief is saying, and I know, you know, I hear fire does. I don't call them in because I don't know exactly where they are, and I know by the time the police get here, whoever the offenders are going to be gone. The problem probably is a lot bigger. I mean, we're kind of talking about putting Band-Aids on a gunshot wound. I think, you know, probably maybe a stuff on the 4th of July might be, you know, worthwhile because that is really nuts. I agree. But there's a bigger problem here, and it's, you know, the flow of fireworks in, and it's not a problem that Blue Island can solve. And there's all these towns around us. We're all having the same problem. Somehow there needs to be a larger effort here to get the fireworks, you know, off the streets, or not to have them come in the first place. I'm sure a lot of them are coming in from Indiana. I don't know why the fireworks flow has increased so much, whether it's a state police problem. I know they used to, you know, do some interdictions on the border. I don't know if they do that anymore or not. But we're pretty strapped. And I mean, you know, we saw the chief's report on how many officers we don't have right now. And I do understand the constraints that they're operating under. And I do like the fact that they are, talking about having an officer available to respond to, respond to complaints as they can. That's a helpful thing. So I don't think we can look to the police force for a major resolution of this problem. I just don't. There's a bigger problem, and it has to be addressed at some other level, and we should work on that. Our committee needs to look at where do we need to go, to our state rep or our senator or a congressman, or whatever. Because I mean, there's lots of other communities. Problem we all ought to get together and basically look at next year and how are we going to solve this, because it's not going to be solved this year.
This is I'm sorry, Alderman Fahrenwald, are you finished?
I am. Thank you, Alderman Johnson.
This is Alderman Johnson. That situation, is a very hard thing to handle. One, we have an issue also with people dumping tires. I don't know if any one of you guys ever seen a tire fire, how long it would take to put out. But what I'm stating is that we said if we catch somebody dumping tires, we would photograph them or video on them doing such. Maybe we could do the same thing with the fireworks, since there's so many people complaining. But we got to step up, or the neighbors have to step up and help Chief Arzab or help Chief Rita make their job a little more simpler or easier. Because what I'm saying is, one, I want to take my hat off to our first responders, especially when that first day of looting that they were there. Because of the constraints on finances, is that they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Because was they break in one spot, they go to see about that issue, they was breaking in another spot. So they knew that we were scattered and we was very few. But I want to take my hat off because they were there. And I don't know if Jim Poster was on the line, because I wanted to mention something about having someone second in charge that lives in Blue Island that we can contact, and they could be readily available in cases of emergencies. I was there on the front lines with our first responders, and I seen it firsthand. So our city, as uniquely as it is, we have to step up not only as aldermen, but as our citizens in the wards. Because if there's somebody right next door blowing fireworks, they should be able to report that or take a video of it. But a lot of them are scared to, so they'll put the onus on the alderman to call them that they don't see it, and they probably don't even hear it in most cases. But I'm just saying we need to come together more collectively for a common issue or a common problem. But it's hard. It's hard on Chief Arzab, and Chief Rita. I've seen them in action firsthand, right out in the belly of the beast with them. And they do need help, because we constraining them on overtime and things of that nature. They can't combat it with the few people that they have. It's just totally impossible. But when I went to each city after these break-ins and things of that nature, guess what? They responded right after we responded, because we contacted Domingo Vargas. Our mayor contacted the other mayors in other cities, as well as myself. And they public works trucks blocked off entryways to a lot of the strip malls and different avenues of that nature. We had to call on airline towing with JR, and they dropped semis where we needed public works vehicles, which was not available at all, period. So what I'm saying here is we have a common problem. And I think together we need to sit together, not put all the onus on the first responder chiefs, but try to come up with something, within ourselves. And each one of our wards are uniquely made. So I think that's what we need to sit down at the table with first. Thank you.
Just for the record, I agree with you, Dex, that it's not just on the chief. And I think that was even in one of the emails that I sent to the chief a while ago, that I realized it's not just their problem. It's a bigger problem, as Bill said too. And I suggested at that point that we do some type of public education, whether it's the YouTube channel, the city webpage, the water bill, whatever it is, to let people know that they are illegal and that they will be prosecuted. Maybe even if that stops one or two, it's one or two less. It was my thinking. So probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Chief, I emailed you about fireworks. I had a complaint, and you did put something out on the city's Facebook page, I think, maybe the police department Facebook page. And I actually got a response from the lady that complained to me, and she said, oh, it seems to have worked. So, yeah, there are other things that we need to do, but unfortunately, we're kind of close to the 4th of July. That's why I'm pushing the enforcement aspect of it now. So that's about all I had. Does anybody else have anything on fireworks?
Yeah, this is Alderman Carr. What, Alderman Klinker, can we send a request to finance if we could hire part-time officers for possibly July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th to be out on the streets in the evening?
I can send an email to Alderman Donahue.
I think if we assigned a couple of part-timers just to fireworks, after a couple of days, people would kind of get the message.
Yeah, and obviously it's a much bigger problem than just those days, but that might help to address. Chief, you think that would help to address the problem?
Well, that would not be a finance committee issue. That can be addressed to me. I will have to look because our part-time budget has been cut, so we have to. They can only work so many hours a week as part-time officers by state law. I mean, that can be addressed with me. We can try to readjust their schedules to allot for those hours. But unfortunately, we have very few of them because and we're already supplementing them on my patrol shifts to eliminate full-time, time and a half overtime. That's one of the main reasons why we have our part-time staff. So if I have to make an adjustment to their hours so that they don't go over their hours and have them work those, that's something that I can definitely look into.
Okay, I tell you what, if the committee is agreeable to this, I'll send an email tomorrow with Alderman Carr's request, and I'll send it to Chief. I'll also CC the mayor, and I'll CC the finance committee, because today is the 16th, so we got a couple of weeks beforehand, but that way everyone's on the same page and everyone has an idea of what our proposal is. And then hopefully we can, if we need to with the finance committee, I know we can shift money. We've done that for a couple other things when we just gave both chiefs a raise. Whatever it takes, we need something. And if that's what's going to help for those days, that's great. I also think that, like Alderman Johnson said, that, we need people to call it in, and we need people to say, hey, my neighbor's blowing up fireworks. And then hopefully something will get done.
Hey, Alderman Klinker, we also have to take into consideration that a few of these part-time officers also have full-time jobs because they don't make very much money being a part-time officer. So that there's constraints there as well.
Okay.
If they're already working those days on their full-time jobs.
So that's my intention of getting the ball rolling here by emailing the three of you guys, yourself guys, and the mayor, yourself, and Alderman Donahue. Hopefully between the three of you guys, we can get something at least going. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe we need to look at full-time officers. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing ideas out there, which I think is pretty much what everyone's doing. So I will fire off that email probably first thing in the morning. And, if you want to start looking at things, Chief, I really don't see where it's going to be a problem with either of those guys. I can't speak for them, but I think everyone's pretty much fed up. I know the mayor's had, personal thing. I think his dog died a couple of years ago because of the fireworks. So I know he's not really happy with them either. So is that okay with everyone else on the committee?
It's good with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else have any additional to that?
Yeah, I just would like to maybe say again that, we'll get beyond this 4th of July. I think as soon as we do, we need to, I don't know how to do it, frankly. I'm just saying this, and maybe an intergovernmental group or something that's looking at this, but this is a bigger problem, and we are not going to be able to solve it with our police force. So there's an issue here for the whole county or the whole Northeast Illinois or whatever it is. And if there's an effort to try to bring this under control, we need to join that effort and support it, because we're never going to get on top of this trying to deal with all these fireworks once they're on the street. It just can't be done.
Okay.
I agree with you, Chairman Klinker and Alderman Fahrenwald, because we got to realize there's a COVID virus going around. People locked up in their homes, and they could easily go to Indiana and get a hotel or something where it's legal to pop, do whatever they want to do with them fireworks. But, just like you guys said, I'd rather for us to be more, proactive than reactive,
Yeah. And Alderman Johnson, just in response to your second in command down at Public Works, I think maybe we can, Candy, you're still on. You're in charge of municipal services, correct?
Yes.
So maybe we can address that through you and or through the mayor's office or whatever to look into what Alderman Johnson's talking about, so that we do have someone that's, I mean, I know Jim doesn't live in the area, but so we had someone that is second in command. So in the event that we need something quicker, I think he's very responsive as he is, but that day I think we needed something a lot quicker than he could have even gotten back to us. So maybe you can address that through municipal services to see if we can get something going on that.
Okay, I'll bring that up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chairman Klinker, because there was no response. That's
okay. Yeah. I forgot. That's what you told me. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we need to get something. I mean, we definitely need to get that moving. So especially in today's day and age. All right. Anything else on fireworks from anyone? All right. Chief, any old business?
Could I ask one other quick, just detailed question?
Sure.
Thanks. Chief, just back in terms of the hiring of the officers, I just wanted to make sure I understood back in your report about, you've got 2 spots that you're hoping to send for training in September. That would be 2 additional officers eventually. You say you're looking to hire 2 now, so that totals up to 4. But you also, Civil Service Commission has approved the hiring of 4 full-time. So is that another 2 that we get 6 out of this? Or I just want to know understand what the force is going to eventually be if if everything works out.
Oh, sorry, I was muted there. Sorry about that. It's going to be 4 total, 2 that we want to try to hire in September, and then eventually 2 more. We also have to take into consideration that even though it's important to bring our manpower up as quickly as possible, we also have constraints on training them as well when they come out of the academy. We only have so many field training officers. We only have so many shifts where we can put them to be trained. So we don't want an influx of new recruits coming in, because not only do my field training officers have to train these officers, they have to respond to calls. We don't have the manpower to separate the 2. So that's why we're hoping to hire 2 now for September, and then 2 after that, so we can spread out that total 4. Does that make sense?
Okay. It does. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Chief, do you have anything else under either old business or new business?
No, sir.
No? All right. Does anybody else have anything for either of the chiefs? I guess we'll go to the Alderman Concerns and Comments section. Anyone have any Alderman Concerns and or comments?
I have 1 or 2.
Go ahead, Bill.
All right. Let's see. I'll just start at the top. I don't know. I haven't heard anything since last city council meeting. There had been a press release issued by a lawyer saying that his clients were suing the city for a police incident, and I haven't heard anything about it since. So I don't know if anybody knows. I just would like to.
I have.
True or not?
I have something for you. Hang on 1 second. Let me find. I emailed the mayor, and I also emailed the city attorney, Mr. Horvath. Let me see if I can find his answer here. Basically, the answer I got from Mr. Horvath was, hang on a second. We'll try to get a copy of the actual lawsuit as filed this upcoming week. It has not yet been served on the city. So as of now, we do not know the details other than what is included in the press release. We will inform the city council once we have more information. And the response I got from the mayor's office came from Marisol, and she said, "We're investigating this matter, and due to the purportedly pending lawsuit, we cannot publicly comment at this time." So I personally have just been waiting for Mr. Horvath to give us an answer. He said he's looking into it.
Okay, thank you. And
Sure.
probably just to follow up on what Alderman Johnson was saying, and this is for a little bit down the line here, but I just want to recognize that there are a lot of changes going on in the world right now, and people are starting to look at policing a little differently than they used to. And I think our police department does a great job. But obviously there's issues here that we're sensitive to. We have a large, we have a great diverse population in Blue Island. and we want to make sure that we're protecting everybody well. And I know that there are things going on at a higher level. The president issued an executive order today that we got to see how that shakes out about various issues. But this committee needs to be, aware of that, and we need to be in touch with what's going on. And I'd rather be ahead of the curve than completely behind the curve on things that are going on. So I would just, ask that maybe we put on the agenda here at some point, some kind of an initial look at, what's going on out there in terms of how policing may be changing. What are some of the things that we need to be looking at to make sure that we're current?
Okay. What I should do, and usually what I do the week before, I try to text in or email the chiefs and ask them if there's anything that they want on the agenda. And what I'll try to do is I'll send it to all you guys too. And that way, if you have a concern like that, Bill, you can let me know and I'll throw it on the agenda. Okay.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Does anybody else have anything else? Alderman Concerns?
Yeah, this is Alderman Johnson. I got a few concerns.
Sure.
One, I don't believe in disbanding and defunding the police department. But what I do believe in is probably having a community organized police review board that can work hand in hand, not only with you, Chief Klinker, but with the police department as well. Like I said, I'm just trying to be more proactive than reactive. And I'm not stating that Chief Arzab is doing a terrible job. I think she's doing a good job. But if we could do anything to help enhance what we have in our very beautiful and unique city. But I have a question that I would like you to look into, Chairman, and it's with our garbage company. One, they do not recycle in the first ward. Our residents recycle, but they used to come when they first started with a garbage truck with two sides, one for recycle objects and the other one for garbage. They come with one truck for the garbage, and they put all the people who do recycle, they put all that in the garbage. I do not believe that they take it to a garbage dump and then sort through the recycle when they did it a total different way when they first started. And it's been an issue for quite some time. And I was hoping that maybe it was a manpower situation that they would probably correct it themselves. But if we or someone can look into that, I appreciate it. And if not, I will be probably voting to get another waste management company in here.
Can I stop you 1 second, Dex?
Go ahead.
I'm going to address that. I'll address that from our committee as a public health issue to municipal services. I'll address it to Jim Polstrel. I know that I've had some problems and complaints about people not getting garbage picked up, not getting recycling picked up. I mean, you're saying they're not getting it at all, or they're throwing it in with garbage. It's a totally different thing. But what I'm saying is they're not doing the greatest of job. I mean, I'm getting a lot of complaints about garbage lately. So that's something that does need to be addressed. So I'll make sure that gets Candy. They'll be coming your way probably real soon in the form of an email to you and to Mr. Polstrel. Go ahead, Dex.
Yep, and missing the garbage cans too as well. I'm sorry, Chief Klinker. We had that issue as well. But like I said, okay. I'm not a big person to try to really complain. If I can talk to the guys, sometimes they, just from in the trucking industry, I know sometimes they can be overwhelmed with stops and things of that nature. But I try to talk to them, but it's just been going on too long.
Okay, can I say something? I will put this on municipal services agenda for our next meeting. And also, I just wanted to let you know, I've already spoken to Kevin Donahue, Chairman of Finance, about people's concerns regarding Lakeshore and how people don't feel that they're doing a very good job. And I have suggested to him that we find another company.
All right.
You're correct, Candace. But the company that we had before was not doing a bad job. But as new administration comes in, things change. And that's just one of those things. But I think the company that we had before was doing a pretty good job. What else I got on my agenda here? Friday is Juneteenth, which is pretty much Emancipation Proclamation Day. It's just I wanted to ask how you guys felt if I asked the mayor or whoever to fly the flags half-staff in remembrance, of some of the atrocities that happened through slavery and things of that nature.
I'm good with that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree. Absolutely.
Okay. And I talked about the second in charge of public works. The last thing I want to, second to the last thing I want to talk to is about just thanking the people for Blue Island and Blue Island Strong, for the aldermen and volunteers, the mayor, and whoever came out that I maybe failed to mention, but I don't want to be disrespectful, but just everybody who came out to help for their food giveaway for the godmother of Blue Island, Carol DePace Green. I just want to thank you guys because we fed a lot of people that day, and whether we know it or not, a lot of people in each one of our wards is hurting for just small things, and anything that we could do as people that was voted us in these positions, whatever way we can help is very much appreciated. And I just want to thank those people for coming out. And the last thing really don't have a whole lot to do with public health and safety, but I voted on something yesterday that I feel kind of not real at ease with it, Chairman, and it was about Robinson Engineering. And I didn't want to get caught up talking to you guys like in lieu of the Opens Meeting Act, but I want to bring it because Robinson Engineering said yesterday, and I voted for it, and I'm sorry that I did that. I wish I could retract it, about not being able to pave or restrict water in some of our crooked alleyways and streets. But because Blue Island is one of the oldest cities in the state of Illinois, we are very uniquely made. Each one of our wards are very different, which is the beauty of Blue Island. And they can't not correct the route that those streets and alleys are, that they need to find someone else who can. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Dex, I re-listened to that meeting again today, and kind of hit me too. The more I listen to that, sometimes I don't want to say you don't catch it, but sometimes when you hear it a second time, it's like, oh, wait a minute, what did they say? So yeah, I think that's something we need to probably bring back up the next week's finance meeting. All right, does anybody else have any other alderman concerns?
Alderman Stevo, I'd like to question both chiefs. Has there been any discussion on the hospital about opening up the emergency room at the same time? We need to have a community hospital with an emergency room.
No, that Alderman Stevo, that's not that. That's strictly going to be for COVID patients at the state's request. So no, there's been no discussion of opening the ER. They converted the entire ER to beds. There's the what was the ER is basically another floor strictly for beds for patients.
I would like to see this committee in the future work towards opening up, having an emergency room opened up as well, and have a community hospital. Furthermore, under public health and safety, the 7th Ward and a few areas in Blue Island have a rat infestation problem. And the sooner we hire the pest control company, the better for those residents who are affected by this infestation.
So I believe that was brought up at Municipal Services, and I believe it was also discussed at Community Development. I think they have the company in mind. I'm not quite sure where it goes next. I'm pretty sure it's Finance Committee, but yeah, I completely agree with you on that one, Mr. Stevo. I've been talking about rats for over a year now. I'm glad something's finally getting done.
I think they are going to get at the
We
next.
did discuss that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Candace.
Yeah, we did discuss that at the last Municipal Services meeting.
Okay.
And we did decide on a company, so that is going to finance.
Okay. Yeah, no, I saw it someplace. I just couldn't remember exactly what the end result was.
They discussed it. They discussed it on Monday, and there was something one more thing they wanted to look at to bring it back up. I think next Monday, and hopefully that comes to City Council, and we got it going.
Yeah, you know what? I am getting my meetings messed up. I did talk about rats, so yeah, I think that's going to be on the agenda for next week as well. So, okay. Anyone have anything else, Mr. Stevo? Is that it, or do you have something else?
That's it for now.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I second it, Alderman Hill.
Motion by Carr, second by Hill. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, our next, it's 7:19 PM. Our next meeting is set for July 21st, 2020, 6 PM in the East Annex building or on Zoom, whatever happens, we'll let you know before then. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.